this has been a wonderful experience. We've had a lot of fun. We've learned a lot, and definitely tested the limits of my creativity with cooking, trying to put meals together. So in that respect, it's been a lot of fun.
I noticed Andrea spent a lot more time in the kitchen, and that was really hard because she didn't spend as much time with Kieran. I don't cook as much as I probably should. I enjoy barbecuing.
I think what I really learned this week is a new appreciation for those foods that don't come from within 100 miles, and I have no problem using those things, but what has been really interesting was to focus on local foods, and I think we really learned more about what is available here, and then we can use that as a foundation for our meals.
I did enjoy parts of it. It was a challenge, obviously. You know, some things. Sitting on the couch watching the hockey game and not being able to have a beer and some chips was difficult. An apple just didn't fill the void.
The bulk of our food will continue to be local, even more local than it was.
It was fun. It was a good week. I'm glad we did it.
Back on Amherst Island, comedian Deborah Kimmett looks back on her 7-day Eat Local challenge.
When you live on a place like the island and there's a lot of farming community, you get in touch with this is the way people used to live. This is not a new trend. It's the way people lived forever up until the last 20 or 30 years, where we've become so disassociated from our food source. And the reason they had to get along in small communities is because they might need each other to eat. And you know, that week when I started to eat locally and everybody said, oh, I got carrots, I got vegetables, do you want a chicken, I got some eggs, you realize that was probably the way of it, you know, and it's kind of neat to be put back in touch with that. As not something to do as a fad, but something, you know, that we could actually live a little more like that, even if it's just a little bit.
Back in Belleville at Engine Communications, our participants look back on their successes and failures during their 7-day experience.
We all did learn a lot from the challenge in terms of eating local and being more aware of where we purchase our food from and where it's come from.
The biggest challenge was just time, the extra time it took to prepare whatever you needed to prepare instead of just grabbing something out of the fridge.
The biggest challenge was not being able to use all of the wonderful condiments that I have in my fridge. It's just packed full of them, and not using salt, which that's one of my cheats. I don't know if we're going to get to that or not, but I did finally have to cave near the end of the week.
I was worried about coffee, actually, and I was able to wean myself off that quite successfully, although I've started drinking again. Sounds so bad, but my dependence is back again.
A lot of what kept me going was just having a lot of dried fruit and that kind of thing.
We're really lucky where we live. There's a ton of local produce and meats and everything that we have access to, but a lot of times they're only open certain hours. If you waited till the end of the day and you went to go to source your food, you may not be able to get it.
Doing the challenge, I realized that I take for granted all the local farms in the area, and you know, we have access to them, like they're right next door, and having grown up in the county, I'm a little bit embarrassed about that, actually. So I've decided when in season, I will endeavor to buy locally. And you know what, it just tastes better, you know?
We've all made these choices to go to the grocery store, and we have ended up with the kind of food system we have, and we can make that choice to leave the bigger supermarkets and to support local agriculture, and I think we can transform the way agriculture looks within 15 or 20 years.
Supporting local farmers markets is a great way to get involved with the local food movement. You start to get to know who the farmers are, you establish dialogue. Dialogue leads to networking and involvement.
Some things are very easy to acquire locally, and I'd say if people would get their honey, their eggs, their summer veg, their root veg, their meat, if they got all those things locally, and that is possible, that would be good enough. That would be a great place to start.
Olive oil, I've missed you. You opened so many culinary doors.
Oh, no way! That's hilarious.
In praise of olive oil.
Honestly, I failed repeatedly. But the thing is that, you know, there's that old saying, you know, anything worth doing is worth doing badly. So I was really good at doing it badly.